Buenos dias, stallions. So we are moving on to chapter 5B. So I'm going to do the new blue and white for chapter 5B. With this new online learning, we don't necessarily take tests each time a chapter ends. Instead, you're proving to me you know what you're doing by all of your assignments I've been handing out and that you've been so good about doing. So we are going to do the blue and white. You do have that other tener with funky expressions today as well, but this is your new blue and white for the next 2 weeks, chapter 5B. To talk about people, el hombre, man, la mujer. Now back to el hombre for 1 second. Remember, we need to do that silent H. El joven, la joven. So this would be a young man, young woman. So we're talking anything between 10 years old and 25, basically. That can vary depending on who's talking, but we're talking about a 10-year-old to, let's say a college student, joven. And of course, technically the people become hombres and mujeres at age 18, but we all know that sometimes some of those people act more like jóvenes instead of hombres and mujeres. So there will be a time where you might use joven instead of hombre or mujer to talk about that 18 to 25 year range. Okay. All right. Now, of course, you can also do señorita for a young lady, and señor for a man as well, or a young man. So they're kind of all interchangeable. To describe people and things, alto, alta, that's tall. Bajo, baja, short in stature. So not short in length like a short line, but rather he's short, she's short in height and stature. Corto, now that's short in length. If someone has pelo corto, they have hair that is short. If there is a fila corta or a cola corta, that means a short line, let's say to get into Costco or something. Guapo, good looking. Guapa, good looking. So a lot of times we think of guapo as handsome, and definitely can mean handsome, but it also just means attractive, good looking. It's definitely a compliment, whether we use it for a guy or a girl. Joven, young, the adjective young. So same exact word as the noun above, but now we're using it as an adjective. So we could say something like Ashley es joven. Ashley es joven. All right. Largo, long, as in a long line, long hair, a long wait. Okay, hay una cola larga. A cola is a line. It's also a ponytail. So if I say there's a long line to get into Costco, hay una cola larga. Viejo is old. Viejo or vieja is old. Anciano and anciana also mean old. Sounds like ancient, doesn't it? Anciano, anciana, anciano, anciana, spelled A-N-C-I. A-N-O, anciano, anciana. El pelo is hair. You'll also hear people refer to as el cabello as hair. Not to be confused with caballo, horse. El cabello, hair. Canoso, gray hair. One cana that someone has is one stray gray hair. So yo tengo muchas canas. I have many gray hairs. And of course, that's why I dye my hair all the time. Tengo el pelo canoso. If I weren't to dye it, I would have pelo canoso. Castaño, brown hair. Notice it's not the brown like café that we've been using for color. When we talk about hair color, it's kind of like we're saying brunette. So it's a different brown word. Castaño. Yo tengo el pelo castaño. Yo tengo el pelo castaño. ¿Tienes el pelo castaño? Right? Do you have brown hair? Do you have, are you a brunette? Negro, el pelo negro. El pelo rubio, el pelo rubio. Okay, so like Rubio's Fish Tacos, that Rubio can be a person's name. It also means blonde. It also can be the add like a noun form, which is like he's a blonde, él es rubio. She's a blonde, ella es rubia. Instead of saying she has blonde hair, you can say it either way. Ella tiene el pelo rubio. Notice in that case, I'm doing el pelo rubio, even though I'm talking about a girl. Or I could do she is a blonde, ella es rubia. Say it either way. Okay, with the red hair one, we do the S thing. So we'll say ella es pelirroja, or él es pelirrojo. Is how we use that being a redhead. Okay, to describe how someone is feeling. Tener calor, tener frío, tener sueño. I went over all of those in your funky expressions that include tener. Sueño being your newest one. Sueño being your newest one. Tener sueño. So if I say, yo tengo sueño, I could also say, estoy cansada, right? Don't those mean the exact same thing? Yo tengo sueño or yo estoy cansada. To talk about food, delicioso, deliciosa, deliciosos, deliciosas. It's an adjective, make it match in gender number. Desear looks like the word desire, and when you desire something, you want it. So stallions, tell me what is the other Q starting want verb we've learned? Get it is the answer. Good for you. And it's a stem changing boot verb. Quiero, quieres, quiere, quieren. Jump out of the boot. Queremos. Okay, pedir. We've seen this a lot, or I've seen it a lot lately on the videos I've been making. You might not have watched them yet, but we're going to see this verb in our stories, where you're going to start reading stories and recording yourself. Pedir is to ask for or to order. It's an E to I stem changer, so it's a boot verb. Say the conjugations with me. Yo pido, tú pides, él, ella, usted pide. Stay in the boot. Ellos, ellas, ustedes piden. Jump out of the boot. Pedimos. When we jump out of the boot, no stem changing action goes on. And that's the verb to ask for, to order. Okay, we're talking about being at a restaurant in this chapter and ordering food at a restaurant. Remember, I call that E to I family the restaurant-y family. When we first came back from Christmas break, that day, seems a long time ago, we did a horizontal paper where I said, we're going to pull this thing out. It's going to be our tool for the rest of the year. And we're going to add to the stem changing families. There are 3 in Spanish. We are finally on the E to I family. We've covered O to UE in depth, E to I, E, and now we're really hitting the E to I this chapter. Okay, el plato principal. That looks like the plate principle. The principal thing of something is the main aspect, the main. So the main dish. And then as a main dish, the plato principal. El postre, or as a dessert, the postre, or for dessert, the postre dessert. Rico, rica, ricos, ricas, tasty, rich, yummy. Good. And then notice down here where I have add E to I, decir. Okay, this verb right here, decir, is also an E to I stem changer. And that's the verb to say or to tell. It's a yo-go verb. So it's yo digo, tú dices, él dice. Stay in the boot. Ellos dicen. Jump out of the boot. Nosotros decimos. We're going to be playing around with decir. Also right here is servir. It's kind of hidden, but servir is what happens after you pedir. You get servir your food, right? Servir is to serve. And it's also an E to I stem changer, a restaurant-y verb. Say the conjugations with me. Yo sirvo. Tú sirves, él sirve. Stay in the boot. Ellos sirven. Jump out of the boot. Servimos. And now we're moving on to the top of the second column. El azúcar, sugar. Accent on that U. It's kind of hard to see there. El azúcar. Z sounds like an S. La cuchara. El cuchillo. Now, some of you won't like this very much, but you know how I'm willing to do anything to get you to remember something. A lot of kids struggle between cuchara and cuchillo because they both start with CU. I have a way you won't forget, okay? Bear with me. We cut, and unfortunately, we kill some things with a knife, okay? I know that's a little graphic. Well, let's pretend it's a snake that we're killing. We cut and we kill with a knife. Not that we're supposed to be killing snakes. I'm just trying to get you to remember the difference between cuchara and cuchillo. We cut and we kill. We cut and we kill. Cut. Think of the cut. But if I just say cut, that's not going to help you. Notice these both start with you. That's why I have to throw in the kill portion. Okay, hopefully your parents won't have a fit. Okay, let's move on to la pimienta. La pimienta, pepper. La pimienta, pepper. Do you remember el pimiento? El pimiento is green pepper, bell pepper. We talked about that in our Soy una Pizza song, but I want you to get it under control. Pepper and salt and pepper, they kind of sit next to each other on the table, right? They're the similar things. So think of them as like the same. So they're both feminine. Maybe that will help you get that under control. To be honest, I used to really struggle between pimiento and pimienta until I finally figured out a trick. And then I went, well, salt and pepper are like the same. They both kind of come in the same container. They sit in the table on the dining room table the same way. So they're both kind of the same. They're both feminine. La pimienta and la sal. If you jump down to sal, you'll see sal. I pronounce it so bad right there. Sal, la sal. It ends with an L, so it's hard to tell if that's feminine or masculine, but do that trick with me, okay? Feminine salt and pepper, feminine salt and pepper. La pimienta, la sal. El plato, we covered already. That's a cognate. Love that. La servieta. That word, when you get served your food, most of us want to have a napkin immediately for fear we may, have something on our face or something. We want to be able to use a napkin immediately. So when you get served your food, you want a servieta right away. La taza. La taza is a cup meant for hot beverages. So this is a teacup or a mug, okay? Taza for teacup, taza teacup for hot beverages. Reason why that's important is we need to compare and contrast that to el vaso. A vaso is a glass. However, some of us call our glasses cups at home. Let's be real. We'll call our glasses cups. And so to differentiate between those two, a vaso looks like vase, doesn't it? And you would never dare dream putting hot water in your vase of flowers, right? You would put cold water. So a vaso is a glass or a cup for cold beverages, lemonade, water, juice. And a taza is a teacup or a mug for hot beverages because that hot tea. Let's think of hot tea. Moving on to el tenedor. El tenedor. That one doesn't seem to give any grief to kids. If you look at the number 10, and a fork has like four, whatever those are called, the four parts, I forget what you call that, on a fork. And so, that people make that connection because 4 and 10, they're both numbers. I don't know, maybe that'll help you out. Okay, we're going to move on to el camarero, la camarera. These words are hard for kids to pronounce. El camarero, la camarera. There's another way to say waiter and waitress that you may prefer. It's the word mesero and mesera. So let's think about how we would sound out mesero. Mesero, mesero. What is helpful about mesero? Look at that word mesero that you've written down in your notes as you're listening to this. Mesero. What do waiters do? They wait on tables. That's right. And a mesa is a table. So you can see why mesero makes sense. I like the word mesero better myself. I think it's easier to pronounce. I think it's easier to remember. And then the female version, mesera. Moving on to la cuenta. La cuenta, por favor, is the bill. And when you are in a restaurant in Latin America or Spain, they will not bring you the bill. Most of the time, they will not bring you the bill. So you may think, geez, why aren't they bringing me the bill? Kind of rude, bad service. Well, on the contrary, they feel like it's rude to give you the bill. Like, thanks, you were good enough to eat here. Now get out so we can get somebody else. We as Americans expect the bill to be brought to us at the end of the meal without having to ask. But it's a different mindset in Latin America. You need to ask for the bill for it to be brought to you. So what you can do is you just say la cuenta, por favor. And if you can't remember that, put your hand up in the air like your flat palm. Take your hand as if you had a pen in it and pretend you're writing like your signature in the air on your hand. That means that's the international sign for bring me the bill. So if you get your waiter or waitress's attention, their eye contact, all you have to do is make that little sign with your hand as if you're signing a check like on your hand, writing in the air, and they'll know to bring you the bill. Okay. All right. El menú. El menú, menu. We love that. Me falta, me faltan. We've talked about this with telling time. It can mean lacking. So if you need something, it's because you're lacking it. You don't have it. So this is a backwards verb. It's going to behave like gustar. So if I am lacking a pencil, I don't have a pencil right now. I could say me falta un lápiz. If I'm lacking a piece of paper, me falta un papel. Now let's do something plural that I'm lacking. I'm lacking my keys. I can't find my keys, darn it. Me faltan mis llaves. Me faltan mis llaves. So you could also say no tengo, I don't have. This is an alternative way to express it. It's a very common expression in Spanish to say you're lacking something, you don't have it. In other words, you forgot it. You left it behind. Okay, quisiera, that's from querer. Can you notice that it starts with QU like querer does? And querer is to want. So the best translation for this is I would want or I would like. You know a different way of saying I would like. It's a backwards verb. We learned it last chapter when we asked people out on dates. Me gustaría. Or it's I would like. And then remember when we asked people out, te gustaría, would you like to go with me somewhere? So quisiera, I would like, quisiera. Now I know this is in the yo form and yet it's not ending in an O. That's because it's in a different tense. It's in something called the past subjunctive that you'll learn about in Spanish 3 and 4. So trust me, quisiera means I would like, okay? So you could put yo in front if you want, yo quisiera, even though it ends in an A, okay? Traer is to bring. We've learned that. Remember, it looks like a tray. We bring things out in a tray. Tráeme agua para beber. Tráeme pan para comer. We know that from our agua song. Le traigo, I will bring you. It's a yo-go verb. It's a yo-go verb. And I've pointed out this I a lot in our agua song earlier in the school year. So I will bring you. Now let's pretend I'm going to bring you guys something. I'm going to change this le to les. I'm going to keep traigo. Les traigo limonada. I will bring you some lemonade, guys. I'll bring it to you right now. Les traigo limonada. Now, if I'm going to bring you, and I'm just talking to one person and I'm the waiter and I'm trying to be really polite with my customer, le traigo limonada. If it's my brother I'm talking to and I'll say, I'll bring you lemonade, Jack, then it's te traigo. I will bring you. The te would match up with the informal tú. Don't get too concerned about le and te. That's more of a Spanish tú concept. Okay, me trae. This is a polite request. Would you bring me, waiter, kind waiter that you are, would you bring me another fork? Me trae otro tenedor, por favor. Would you bring me more water? Me trae más agua, por favor. Would you bring me another napkin? Me trae otra servilleta. So it's a polite request. It's in the usted form right here because we're being polite with our waiter or waitress. We're treating them with respect and using usted form. If I was talking to my brother and I said, hey, would you bring me a towel? And it's just my brother, I would say, me traes una toalla. Would you bring me a pencil, Warren? I'm talking to my son. Me traes un lápiz. Okay, so this could get an S at the end if I'm talking to somebody in the tú form. Yo traigo, I bring. Hey, that's just like up here. It just is missing the le. It's just the plain old yo form right there. It's a yo-go verb. That's the only thing that's crazy about traer. So nothing else is crazy. So let's do the rest of the conjugations of traer. Yo traigo, tú traes, spelled T-R-A-E-S. Él trae. Let's stay in it's not a boot, but let's stay in the boot anyways, like stay in that same shape and do the they form. Ellos traen, and jump out of the boot even though we're never in a boot, and traemos, T-R-A-E-M-O-S. Other useful words. Ahora is now. Ahora vamos a cantar. We learned that in the beginning of the school year. Algo más? Anything else? Something else? This is what a waiter might come by and ask you. Is there anything else I can bring you? Algo más? Something more? Something else? De nada, you're welcome. Otro, otra, we've seen that a lot this school year. Remember, I've talked to you about in a concert in a Spanish-speaking country. At the end, when you give a standing ovation, everybody chants, otra, 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 and that means another song. Song is feminine, canción. That's why they're yelling otra at the end of a concert for another song. Okay, get and an adjective, how, whatever. So if I want to say, wow, how smart are you? Look at you go. Qué inteligente eres. How pretty do you look today? Qué guapa estás. Qué bonita estás. How clever are you guys? Qué listos son. Okay, all right. And then our final word is venir. This is the verb to show up, to arrive, to come to an event. It's a yogo verb. It's a sock verb. Vengo, vienes, viene, stay in the boot, vienen, jump out of the boot, venimos. Remember that the IR verbs demand their own I in the we. Other than that, they're lazy, let the E do all the work. Okay, so this is an E to IE stem changer. We are focusing primarily on E to I. This is a reminder of an old concept of an E to I, the verb to show up, arrive, or come. That's also going to be something you're going to see in the next 2 weeks. This is a major concept, this chapter, ser versus estar. I will do that on a separate lesson, a separate video. Ser is the permanent to be, estar is the temporary to be. That we will save for another video. Muchas gracias, stallions. Ciao.